Let me go ahead and move on to another question. Wayne County is part of the 16th Congressional District, and agriculture is the #1 economy in Wayne County. What ideas do you have to enhance and support agriculture in Wayne County? And we'll start with Mr. Bocheri.
Thank you. I am one of the only legislators from Ohio, congressmen, who sit on the ag panel. We've actually brought Secretary Vilsack into here to look at the things we're doing at ATI and the Ohio State Ag Research Center. And I know they've been hit by a tragedy here with this tornado that came through, and I pledge that if you send me back to Congress, we're going to work to rebuild brick by brick that great institution. They're doing fabulous work there. We've been able to bring back some resources so that they can continue studying these diseases that they're able to research there. We want to continue to do the research and make agriculture as important as its prominence in the state. We know that it's $80 billion of economic activity in the state. 1 of every 7 jobs is connected to it. We've done great work here to help folks like Smith Dairy. They got some stimulus money. We're able to leverage a $20 million contract with Chipotle. Here's an ag producing industry now that's expanding and creating jobs because some of the work that we've done. I would not decrease any farm revenue or farm subsidies for our farmers. We need to make sure that they have everything they need to succeed.
Mr. Renacci?
Yes, and again, agriculture is very important here in Wayne County. And I stand with the agricultural community in 2 basic things. I truly believe that we need to do everything we can to avoid cap-and-trade legislation, which will hurt our agricultural community. The other thing that I know that they stand for, and I stand firmly behind, is I believe that we should have a permanent repeal of the death tax or the estate tax for the farmers in the agricultural community. Give the community those 2 things alone, which they're fighting for, and I believe that would be a good step to helping out the agricultural community here in Wayne County.
Thank you. Mr. Blevins.
When it comes to agriculture, of course, it's not only a large business here in the 16th District, but it's a very lucrative business for America. I see how subsidies have strings, and strings prohibit true growth in the agricultural business. Most of the subsidy monies go to agribusiness, and they do hurt the family farmer. Another thing that does hurt the family farmer is the estate tax. So I'd agree with Mr. Renacci on this. We do need to repeal permanently the estate tax so that families can keep the farms that generations before them have worked on, and that they can be confident that they will be able to make the decisions that's best for them in the future with regards to which crops to grow.
Okay, do we still have a question from the audience or not?
Mr. Roscoe? Mr. Ross.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ross, and then, did you have a question then, still? Okay, we'll get to you after that.
Okay.
Excuse me, thank you, Mr. Ross.
That's all right, thanks. The ag subsidies, like Mr. Blevins alludes to, is going primarily to the big agricultural corporations. Probably in the range of 90% of it does. The small farmers are the ones that are struggling to compete with the money we pay to these large agricultural companies. They also go into other countries, undercut the local agricultural community, and force them out of business into the cities, into the slave shops that we set up down there to put these people to work in for $6 a day. So I'm not a big fan of subsidies to the big agricultural corporations. I am a big advocate of doing the research to help our local farmers. There again, that would be part of my comprehensive plan. We could sit down and say, okay, what resources do we have locally, on the county-wide, city-wide, statewide, and federal that we could combine to improve our own agricultural community?
Thank you.
Cindy, one.
Go ahead. Let me just move to the next question since we're running out of time. Would you like to get up and state your name and your question, please?
Yes, my name is Eric Evans. My question is concerning the cap and trade, wanting the U.S. to get off foreign oil. We have no continental upscale in drilling or offshore drilling in shallow water. I mean, the lesson to me of the deep water oil spill is we couldn't reach it for 3 months because it was a mile below the ocean. Move in closer. If something happens, you can reach it.
And your question is?
Why is no one pushing for continental and shallow water drilling? Because we're still going to need the oil.
Thank you. Mr. Renacci?
Well, again, you heard my response earlier. I'm for an all of the above energy policy, which would include American oil. All right, American oil, nuclear, biofuels, all of those things. So I agree with you. We need to be able to work to make sure that our dependence on foreign oil is eliminated by using the resources we have here, clean coal, and all the above, nuclear. We can do it right here in America, but we've got to be able to use our resources.
Thank you. Mr. Ross?
Oil's a dead end. Oil is the fundamental reason we just got enmeshed in Iraq and Afghanistan. I can't imagine we'd want to follow that much farther down the road. Oil is something that we can get rid of. For instance, right now, we could have a full battery-operated automobile industry in this country where you could drive cars in, they could be recharged, you could exchange at a exchange station, and it would cost no more than 1 year of gasoline that we use. So there's plenty of opportunities for alternatives to oil. Just drilling more holes is not going to solve that problem. Besides, it takes 10 years before the oil gets into the community, and the oil they drill does not come to America, it goes into the general oil pool. So we still import oil. It doesn't help solve anything to just drill more holes closer to the shore.
Thank you, Mr. Blevins.
I think we could drill here. I think it would not only add to the oil supply, but it also create jobs. We could also refine it here, utilize it here, and reduce the cost of gasoline. I think we do need to look at nuclear energies. They've been done safely, and that is an option that will add additional energy sources to our supply, which would reduce the overall cost of energies. And when we do that, we can make allow the consumers to decide which other energies they wish to pursue. I don't think that the government, again, I don't think the government should dictate which energies we pursue as a nation. I think that the free market needs to dictate that.
And Mr. Bocheri?
Let me just say, I voted against our leadership in Washington when they wanted to put a moratorium on offshore drilling. I think all our energy needs need to be on the table, first of all. Secondly, here are the facts. We import 66% of our oil from overseas. 40% comes from the Middle East alone. And the single largest user of energy in the United States is the Department of Defense. And while we can fight and talk about this in Washington, we have not had a comprehensive energy plan in the United States. And the military is not going to wait for us. They're already flying tanker airplanes, testing them at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, using synthetic fuel, which is a derivative of coal. They're also flying fighters on vegetable oil. And if we put 27% of the vehicles on the road were gas-electric hybrids, like the Toyota Prius or the Ford Escape, we would end our dependency on foreign oil. But we've got to do the research here. We can't get to all the energy that's under the ground, the Marcellus shales and everything, unless we research how to tap that into an energy source, a viable energy source, and implement that broad scale. If we don't do the research, we can't wait for the big oil companies or China to do it for us.
Thank you.
May I?
So this concludes Candidates Night for 2010. I'm sorry we've run out of time. We would like to thank the University of Akron, Wayne College, especially Debbie Muniak. I'd like to recognize the organizers from the League of Women Voters, Pat Miles and Michelle Flory in the back, for organizing this whole event. The Daily Record, the Worcester Weekly, Clear Picture, the American Association of University Women for providing the refreshments, Maybach Ford for our van today, and our many volunteers and student greeters, as well as Alexander Davis, the president of the League of Women Voters of Wayne County. This evening's forum is going to be rebroadcast on Clear Channel 22 at both 12:30 and 3 o'clock p.m. on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, October 23rd, 24th, and 25th. I want to thank you for attending this evening's Candidates Night.